All right, so in this video, I want to talk to you about something near and dear to my heart, and that's creativity as an entrepreneur. How do you find it? How do you maintain it? How do you keep things innovative and fun and exciting when things get rough? And that's what I want to talk to you about today. And I'm here in my studio. That brings me to my first tip, to be honest, is add some sort of play into your process on the daily, whether that's playing guitar, whether that's playing the drums, playing a sport. Find something that makes you feel like a kid and actually add it to your calendar, add it to your daily process. Like in my case here, I have the studio and it's right next to the office. So if I'm in the office and I find myself getting heavy and I'm just doing way too much, I walk back over and what do I have? I have almost like a playground right next to an office. And that's a really, really great, I think, analogy for how to approach this idea is like put your playground next to your office and see what happens with the synergies between the two and new ideas and new concepts that come up that otherwise maybe wouldn't. Okay, so that's the first tip. The second tip, and this one is very, very interesting. So I want to talk to you about this thing here. Those of you guys that are not musicians, this looks like a complete spaceship, like bleep bloop, take me to the Mars planet, boop, 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 SpaceX button, boom, let's go. But to musicians, this is called a modular synthesizer. So the reason why it's modular is each of these little components you can take out and put wherever you want. There's tons and tons of these, and you can make basically whatever synth you want over here. And there's a little bit different from these. You see these, like you can't really take it apart, right, without it breaking. Like if you cracked it open, like you'd probably break something. And they're kind of more pre-built. And these are still great, but it sounds awesome. I'm pointing in at Moog 37. It's a great synth. But this is the second component of creativity as an entrepreneur. Understand that you can build whatever you. I think a lot of people forget that. Like we lose ourselves in the minutia of the day-to-day of having to execute, of having tasks, of building a team, of doing all this crazy stuff. And we forget that, hey, we're in the process of building. We're in the process of building whatever we want. Let's stay super positive and let's inject innovation into our process and let's have fun with it. Let's keep it high energy, high vibe. This is not an obligation. This is an absolute privilege to be able to do what we do. Man, that is the approach that we want to take on the daily. Like honestly, wake up with purpose, wake up with dedication, wake up with conviction, show up and understand you can build whatever you want. And the average person who maybe just has a job, they are handed something that is a core set of values, ideas, limitations that are going to constrain them in a way within that particular position. Whereas you as an entrepreneur are able to create anything you want. And essentially any human can be an entrepreneur, by the way. Like any human can be an entrepreneur if you have not yet gotten yourself to where you are manifesting the things that you see in your life and attacking them consistently and having things come together, then you have work to do on your own personal power. You have work to do on your own personal power. That's perfectly fine. And that's a part of the process of growing and building a business and having a team and having people maybe question your decisions or having people be excited and on board and realizing that you're accountable for a lot of people now. These are all things that the entrepreneur carries as weight to make them stronger so that they can get to the next level. So if you're finding that you're not able to carry the weight, maybe look at your personal self and say, wait a minute, am I creating for myself within my life? If that part's missing, if you're falling victim to fears or insecurities or limitations imposed on you by social structures or parents, family, teachers, etc. That's one thing for you to just like, you just gotta cut through it. Like whenever somebody's stuck in that paradigm, like I just recommend just take a samurai sword and just cut through it. Like you don't have time to go on like a 3-year journey to like figure out that you can create your own universe. You need to understand that, you need to trust that immediately at the snap of the fingers. And then from there, you need to go and do what you need to do to actually manifest the life that you wanna have in the real world that exists in the physical space. Make sense? So whether that's monetary or physical, etc. That's the way that you do that, and you'll realize that the number one key component of that is to be creative, to be really, really creative, to be able to visualize something that doesn't exist yet, go and put it into process. So that's the second tip is like, remember, you can build whatever you want with your life and with your business, and that should be really, 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 really fun. And the third step to adding creativity into your workflow as an entrepreneur is like, get loose with it. Think like a kid. Think like a kid, yo. Remember, you were tiny, you were playing, you were running around, you were like using like little toy guns, or girls had like their little dolls and they were like, you were having visualizations. I think like being a kid was almost like a hallucinogenic experience for some people. Think of it that way, right? You were like this little, you're learning, you're just absorbing information. And then from that like forms patterns, and those patterns end up having a big effect on who you are as a human being. That's pretty crazy stuff to think about, right? So it's the third component. Think like a kid. Like if it was little you today waking up, what would you do? I think a lot of people will say, well, but obligations, but I have bills to pay, of course. But you're gonna pay those bills better if you are more innovative and more creative, because that's the economy that we're moving into. So that's what I got for you. And again, like the biggest one, like if you go back to that first tip, just find a way to add a playground next to your office. I'm telling you, it's gonna make such a huge difference for you. You'll walk out of your office, you'll go in there, and it might be something as simple as a library or like a stretching area. It's up to you what your version of that is, whatever it is that you do to turn your mind off and to turn the creativity and the soul on. Apply that, apply it today. It's gonna make such a big difference for you, and you'll find joy in the process again. And then you'll go back to your work with that much more dedication and fortitude and resilience and just that sense of feeling like you're on the correct path that you're meant to be on. So appreciate you guys. Thank you so much for watching this video. Hopefully you found this helpful, and share with me down below, what are some tips for creativity that you use? Do you have a whole music studio that you keep just for restarting that creativity muscle? Do you do something different? Everybody has their way, and I'd love to hear what yours is so we can share that with the group and everybody can learn together. I appreciate you guys so much. I love you, and I'll see you in the next video. Peace.